Hey champs, quick pause in the episode because I want to talk to the yoga studio owners listening right now. If you own a yoga studio and you know the business could be running better than it is, then this is for you. Maybe your classes are inconsistent. Maybe your intro offer is not turning enough new students into members. Maybe your team is lovely, but the student experience is not consistent. Or maybe you're still making way too many decisions alone and the studio depends way too much on you holding it all together. That sound familiar? That is exactly why my Grower Studio coaching package is built for. I work one-on-one with yoga studio owners to clean up the parts of the business that actually move things forward. Your schedule, your intro offer, your customer journey, your membership conversions, and training your teaching team, your marketing, and your retention. And here's why I'm talking about this right now. Over the next 90 days, I'm reshaping how my coaching packages will look moving forward. So if you've been thinking about working with me, this is your window to get into the current format where I have weekly coaching with weekly accountability and having me right there by your side as we make decisions and move the studio forward. So I'm opening up a small number of June strategy calls for yoga studio owners who want to begin in July. So if you're ready to stop guessing and get someone in the trenches with you and get your fall working for you, book your free strategy call at yogabizchamp.com/book. And we'll look at where your studio is now, where you want it to go, and whether Grower Studio package is right fit for you. So that's yogabizchamp.com/book. All right, champs, back to this episode. Hey champs, welcome back to the show. It's Michael J, Yoga Biz Champ, and I'm so glad you're here because today's episode is a process I actually walk my community yoga studio clients through, and every single year it saves somebody's fall. Here's the thing about fall in this industry. Everybody treats it like the Super Bowl. New members, new energy, people crawling back out of their summer schedules looking for routine. And studio owners respond to all of that by doing what they did last year. A little louder, more posts, bigger sale, maybe a challenge because challenges feel like doing something. And look, I get it. I ran a studio for 13 years. I know the feeling of August hitting and your stomach doing that little flip because fall is coming. You haven't done anything yet. I've been exactly where you are right now, listening to this on a dog walk or in a car between teaching and 1,000 other hats you wear. But here's what I learned the hard way more than once. Because you plan fall, you have to assess it. Not vibes, not I feel like attendance was down. Actually look. Because the studios that grow every fall, including plenty of the ones I've worked with directly, are not the ones with the flashiest launch graphic. They're the ones who did the unglamorous looking backwards work in August, so September wasn't a guess. So that's really the whole episode today. I'm going to walk you through the 7 things I have every single client assess in the summer before we build a single fall plan. So whether they're brand new and building their very first schedule, or 10 years in and trying to figure out why growth has gone flat. And because a few of you have asked me to back things up with a little bit more than just my own gut over the years, fair. So I'm sprinkling in some real industry numbers this time too, plus a handful of free tools you can grab today if you want to get ahead. Grab a coffee, maybe a notes app, and let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to look at is our numbers. And I put this first on purpose because everything else on the list is just a guess without it. Your numbers. We have no excuse not to know our numbers if we're running our yoga studio on a modern booking software such as Offering Tree and many others. The data is sitting right in there. Most of us just don't ever open the reports tab. Specifically, I want you pulling revenue and attendance for the last 2 quarters. So basically, your whole year so far, and then pulling last year's fall. So you've got something to actually compare against, not, I think we're busier, actual numbers side by side. And within that, there's a handful of things I care most about. Your retention rate, meaning of the people who walked in the door, how many are still coming back? Your first visit return rate, because that tells you if your first timer experience is actually landing, and your intro offer conversion of everyone who bought that cheap first package, how many of them became real paying members? That number alone tells you more about your studio's health than almost anything else. Now, here's where I want to hand you something to actually measure yourself against, because how am I doing is meaningless without a benchmark. The Health and Fitness Association's most recent industry benchmarking numbers, and yes, literally in the room for some of this data for the conferences earlier this year, put healthy annual client retention for boutique studios somewhere in the 70 to 80% range. And it's not flat across the board. Clients attending 3 or more times a week retain at 85 to 90%, while your once a week clients are down at 40 to 50%. So the gap right there is basically the entire retention conversion in one stat. Getting someone from once a week to twice a week isn't a nice to have, it's close to the whole game. There's also a number I bring up with every single client at some point because it changes how they think about their first 90 days. Roughly half of the new clients who quit within the first 90 days. But this is the hopeful part. Get someone past that 90-day mark and with consistent attendance, and they're roughly 3 times more likely to stay a full year. So if you're wondering where to focus your energy this fall, it's not just get more people in the door, it's get the people already in the door past 90 days. And on intro offers specifically, industry data puts a healthy intro to membership conversion rate somewhere between 25 and 45%, with most well-run studios landing around about 35 to 40%. And if you're creating a course like I do with my clients, I've got them converting almost double that at 60%. So if you're feeling well under that, that's not a try harder problem. That's a look at your follow-up process problem. I had a client, and I want to be clear, this is a composite of a conversation I've probably have once a month. It's that common. A studio owner who is convinced that their intro offer was working because they were selling a ton of them. So tons of people walking in the door on the 39 intro offer or 49 deal. But what this particular client hadn't looked at was that fewer than 1 in 5 of them were ever converting to a membership. So that's way under that 35 to 40% benchmark I just gave you. And she was running very expensive coupon program and was calling it marketing. But the second we pulled the numbers and put it right in front of her, the whole fall conversation changed, because now what we weren't just asking, how do we get more people in the door? We were asking, why aren't the people already walking through staying, which is a completely different fall plan. And quick tool tip here, if pulling all this feels like a chore, a lot of the booking platforms now have some kind of AI built into reporting. Offering Tree's got a really amazing tool called Sprout, for example. And as of recently, you can just flat out ask in plain English, show me the revenue by month for the last 2 quarters, or what is my retention rate compared to last fall? And it'll pull for you in about 30 seconds. It won't fill in a spreadsheet for you yet, but you still have to move the number over yourself. But it kills the hour you'd probably spend digging through report tabs. Whatever platform you're on, go look for something like that before you assume that it has to be a weekend project. This is exactly the reason I built a KPI key performance system into my Grower Studio coaching platform, because I got tired of watching smart, hardworking owners make 6-figure decisions off of a gut feeling. So if you don't have a simple system for tracking this stuff monthly, that's worth fixing before fall, not after. Hey champs, quick word about today's sponsor, Offering Tree. I've been connected to them for a few years, and they've grown into a full studio platform that I can truly stand behind. Their website builder is built in with Sprout AI. It'll build your website for you, run your studio reports, and tell you what's working. It's really cool. So website, booking, payments, your on-demand library, and marketing are all under one roof at a price well below other studio software with as much power. And they actually support you. Real people, plus they have the OT co-op community of studio owners helping each other. And if you sign up right now with my link, you get 50% off your first 3 months or 15% off the first year. And as a bonus, you get a free one-on-one coaching call with me if you sign up on the studio plan. So go book a demo with my link in the show notes or tell them that Yoga Biz Champ sent you. The second thing I'd like to look at is your schedule. Actually look at it class by class and slot by slot. So fall is the one time of the year where people's routines reset. Kids go back to school, work schedules shift. Everybody's suddenly looking for their thing again, which means fall is your one real window each year to fix a schedule that's been quietly underperforming since June, without anybody really noticing or minding the change. And there's a reason it's worth getting this right than just eyeballing it. Boutique fitness and yoga is generally one of the fastest growing corners of the industry right now. So depending which report you look at, boutique studios are growing somewhere around 15 to 20% a year. Inside a fitness and wellness industry that's now valued north of $96 billion. That growth is out there. The studios capturing it are the ones whose schedule actually matches when people want to show up, not the schedule they built 3 years ago and never touched again. And some of you have heard me talk about this before. Quite often when I meet a studio owner, or in particular a new studio owner, they build a schedule around the teacher's availability in the beginning. And I would like you to kind of reverse that and build it around the community's needs. So look at which of your classes are packed, which ones are hanging on by 2 loyal regulars, and be honest with yourself about which ones you're keeping out of guilt rather than good business. And I say that with love. I kept a Tuesday class alive for a solid year longer than I should have because I liked the teacher and a couple of people attending the class. But liking the teacher isn't a business strategy. And I also have a free tool, which is my Canva template, which I really recommend once you've got your schedule done, and it's completely free, but it's putting this visual Canva schedule above your integrated platform schedule, so that people can really be able to see the visual and how your schedule fits into their life, right? Just seeing it visually instead of just staring at a spreadsheet, it also makes the dead slots obvious once you kind of take a look at that. I'll drop that link in the show notes as well. But this is a big piece of what I walk brand new owners through in my starter studio. We call it schedule mastery, building a week that actually serves the community instead of just filling a grid. Honestly, it matters just as much at year 10 as it does at day 1. And we have to make little increment changes along the way. The third, your team. Who's teaching what? Who's your backup when somebody's sick? And this is the one owner skip. Does your payroll as a percentage of revenue actually support the fall schedule you're dreaming up? Because here's a mistake I watch happen constantly. An owner gets excited, decides fall is the season to add 6 new class times, builds that plan around a team that can't actually cover it. And then September hits, someone's overextended, a class gets canceled last minute, and that's the exact first impression you didn't want to give a new fall member. And let me give you a number to hold your own payroll up against, because does this feel like a lot is not a metric. For boutique studios, the healthy range for labor cost as a percentage of revenue generally sits around 20 to 25%. Once you're pushing towards 35, 40, 45%, which does happen, especially in premium or highly specialized studios with a lot of senior teachers, you need to be very intentional about it because that's no longer a small leak. That's a structural problem. I worked with, again, and this happens all the time, a studio owner who was adding classes every time attendance ticked up without ever checking what her labor cost as a percentage of revenue actually was. She was thrilled about growth that was quietly eating her margin alive. We pulled the numbers, found she was well above that healthy 20 to 25 range, and had to have the unfun conversation about consolidating before we could even talk about adding. So build the full schedule. Your current team can actually deliver brilliantly, and growing the team comes after, not during. And the fourth, your offers and your pricing. Which packages actually sold this year and which ones you built for love and nobody bought? And I remember with my studio, I had so many pricing packages, pricing choices to choose from. And quite often with a new client, when I look at their pricing, I just find it quite often way too complicated, right? And I don't want to gently push you on pricing here because I know this is the one everybody avoids. You don't have to raise your prices for fall, but you should go in with your eyes open instead of finding out in January that the bills don't add up. If you haven't looked at your pricing in over a year, fall with the new members wave is the right moment to at least look at it. And here's some context so you're not pricing in a vacuum. Unlimited monthly memberships across the industry are commonly running somewhere between $100 and $180 a month, with boutique and urban studios often sitting at the $150 to $200 plus. Drop in pricing is wider range, anywhere from $18 to $36, depending on your market, with a lot of studios clustering around 24 to 36 and major metro areas pushing past 30, actually even up to 40. I mean, we really, when I look at my pricing, we want that drop in actually to be uncomfortably high because that's what everything else gets sold against. So if you're way outside those ranges in either direction, that's worth knowing, but not necessarily worth panicking about. Some of you have great reasons to be priced where you are, but just know it on purpose. I had a client whose intro offer hadn't been touched in 3 years. Same price, same length, while her drop-in and membership pricing had crept up around it. So the gap between what a brand new person paid and what a full member paid had gotten so wide that people were happily staying in the intro deal on repeat instead of ever converting. Small fix, real fall. Quick word about my good friend Mitch McGinley from Boutique Fitness Brokers. He's been on the podcast multiple times. He's sold nearly 100 studios totaling roughly $30 million. And here's the thing he always says. The biggest mistake owners make is building a studio they never planned to sell. And let's be honest, everybody exits eventually, whether you've planned for it or not. His new book, The Number Nobody Talks About, starts from the exit and works backwards. So you build a business buyers actually want right from day one. Your future self will thank you for it. Grab it on Amazon, search The Number Nobody Talks About by Mitch McGinley, or click the link in bio to Amazon US. Impact. And fifth, your marketing calendar, and specifically what actually worked last September, not what you posted the most of. What drove real signups? And I quite often get my studios to pull the data without their events, to really just look at the classes, because that's your bread and butter, right? This is where I'll put in my little plug for giving yourself real lead time, because I see this every single year. An owner builds their big fall campaign the week before fall starts and then wonders why it underperforms. A good fall campaign needs runway, weeks. You hear me talk about this all the time. not days. So that's why in July, we can really get ahead to build momentum. All right. And not to keep touting my amazing coaching program, LOL, but this is baked into my coaching program. When we do our October next year group planning party, I get my clients so that they're figuring this all out way ahead of time instead of scrambling. And now, while we're talking about marketing, I want to give you a stat that I think gets ignored constantly in the industry because everybody's obsessed over ad spend and algorithms. The research on this is pretty consistent. Something like 84 to 88% of people trust a recommendation from a friend over any other form of advertising. And it's not just trust. Members who came through a referral tend to stick around 25 to 30% longer than members who came in through a digital ad. And you know, I love digital ads. And they go on to refer 30 to 57% more new members themselves. Referred members are simply better members on every measure that matters. So before you go spending full budget chasing new eyeballs on social, ask yourself, do I actually have a referral system? Or do I just sort of hope my members mention me to their friends? Those are very different full strategies, and the second one is free. Random marketing is also a full pillar of my starter studio coaching for exactly this reason, because so many owners are phenomenal teachers and absolutely underwater when it comes to marketing with any kind of strategy behind it. You don't need to become a marketer. You need to plan and build in August, not panic in September. And if you want a head start building that plan, I've got a free market and events guide on my website also, and it walks you through exactly how to lay out a season of promotions and events instead of throwing spaghetti at the wall in real time. Also completely free, and I'll also link that in the show notes for you. And number 6, this is a quick one, but your actual physical space for fall. Any maintenance, equipment, or room setup stuff you've been putting off, better to deal with a squeaky floor or a broken heater in July and August than mid-September when with a packed room and new members forming their first impressions of you. In my own studio, my numbers actually told me something surprising, that the last week of August cost me way more money to keep my doors open than it would have just to close for the week. Most of my students were squeezing in one last getaway before Labor Day, and routine kicked back in. So attendance cratered anyway. So I flipped it, and we use that exact week every year to do all the studio improvements and do a deep cleanup, including steam cleaning the bolsters, getting into the chandelier lights, cleaning behind the prop shelves. Trust me on this one, a new member's first sensory impression of your space is doing more marketing work than your last 3 Instagram posts combined, and it costs you nothing but elbow grease. So get spruced up for the fall. And number 7, the last one, your community levers. What actually drove energy last fall? A challenge, a bring a friend week, a member event? Because fall enrollment responds to community and belonging far more than it responds to a discount code. A 10% off sale doesn't make somebody feel like they found their people, but a great challenge or event does. And there's real data behind that instinct, not just my opinion. Remember those referral numbers from a minute ago? Well, here's the piece that ties it all together. Members who feel personally known by their studio refer their friends at 3 to 4 times the rate of members who feel just another name on a check-in sheet. And studios running recognition-based referral programs, shout-outs, milestones, being seen, see 30 to 50% higher participation than studios just running a flat discount-based referral deal. Belonging isn't just a nice value to have, it is measurably your cheapest and most effective growth channel. And I feel like we have the opportunity in the yoga world to do this really, really well. This is exactly what I focus on in the final months of my Grower Studio coaching. We call it the Studio Health Check, where we're not just looking at numbers, we're looking at what's actually driving community engagement and building the forecast for the season ahead around that. You need to strategically place those challenges and sales based on your numbers, not just reacting to whatever's happening in the moment. So if you want somewhere to start, I've got a free retention planner up in my resources. It's built around exactly this, mapping out community touch points across a season instead of just hoping people stick around. Again, link in the show notes with everything else I mentioned today. Okay, champs, let's bring this home. 7 things quickly. Your numbers, your schedule, your team, your offers, and your pricing, your marketing calendar, your space, and your community levers. I threw a lot of data at you in this episode, so let me boil it down to a handful of numbers actually worth writing down. 70 to 80% healthy annual retention, 50% of new clients at risk in the first 90 days, and 3 times more likely to stay if you get them past it. 35 to 40% as your intro offer conversion target, 20 to 25% as your healthy payroll range, and referred members sticking around 25 to 30% longer than anybody else. Hold your own studio up against those 5 and you'll know more about where you stand than 90% of the studios walking into this fall blindly. And I'm not going to tell you to go to all 7 assessment areas this week. That's how nothing gets done. Pick one you have the most avoidance around. That's usually one that matters most. Go look at that this week before you build a single piece of your fall plan. And once you're done looking, once you've got your studio numbers pulled and you're ready to actually build the plan itself, that's what my 2026 Yoga Studio Planner on the website is built for. So you're not starting from a blank page. You still got the last 6 months that you can make use of that. And listen, if you go through this list and you get stuck, or you look at your numbers and you go, okay, I generally don't know what to do with this. This is exactly what I'm here for. Whether you're getting ready to open your very first studio and want the whole blueprint, that's my starter studio coaching. Or if you're running your place for years and need someone in the trenches with you to fix what's actually broken, that's my Grower Studio. Either way, head to yogabizchamp.com/book and grab a free discovery chat with me. No pressure, no scripted sales pitch, just a real conversation about where your studio is and where you want it to go. That's the show, champs. Go assess before you plan, and I'll see you on the next episode.